So I also watched Fendi, oh no, I just said Fendi. So I also watched Versace's runway show. Hello everyone, I'm Virginia, welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, then welcome back. Thank you guys so much for watching. Today I'm going to be talking about how you can take the summer 2020 haute couture looks that were on the runway and recreate them from your own wardrobe. Also, make sure you guys stick around to the end of the video to see the fashion show, yes, I said fashion show, of all of the created looks that I made. I wanted to do this video because I feel like I'm starting to see a lot of outfits that are the same, and even though they say they're inspired by maybe like a runway look, a lot of the things are so oversimplified that really they're just some color of t-shirt and then some color of pants or some type of dress that's kind of like what was seen on the runway. But I really wanted to get a little bit more creative and find some new things based on what I was looking at on this summer 2020's runway shows. I picked out quite a few designers, and I also chose some clothing that I felt like I could probably recreate from what I already have without having to buy new stuff. So I do kind of have a formula for what maybe you can recreate from what you already have in your own wardrobe as well. I was starting to see a lot of looks that I felt like kind of look the same. So many people are doing very casual looks and very basic looks, which I think is totally fine, especially for right now. But this coming up summer, I'm kind of looking to get into things that are a little bit more interesting and a little bit more creative. So that's why I took my inspiration from what was on the runway. Now, they actually did these runway shows quite a few months ago. They release what's coming out in the summer way after they've had the runway shows. So I went back and I looked at the summer runway shows for a bunch of different haute couture designers and saw kind of what they were putting out. So one of the runway shows that I watched was actually the Fendi runway show. I thought it was very interesting, but it was also very like 70s. They had a lot of browns and a lot of like mustard colors, which I know that mustard was in maybe a couple of years ago, and now I guess they're trying to bring it back a little bit. So it had a very, very 70s, maybe kind of flower child inspired feel. I also did feel like it was a little bit wintry. The runway show was kind of a combined spring 2020 and summer 2020 runway show. For some places, it might be a little bit cooler in the spring, so they felt like they could have more like coats. There were quite a few designers who I noticed had kind of heavy clothing for spring. Now, I live in California, so I cannot wear a coat right now. Like, I can't wear something that's very heavy or thick because it has pretty much reached 80 degrees, like a solid 80 degrees. If you're further north, I totally understand, and you may be able to take some looks that are a little bit more wintry, but that is what I noticed about Fendi. I saw some faux fur, which I will be implementing, and I saw some like thicker fabrics on the runway for them this year. I also saw platform sandals or like these platform flip-flops, which I must say, I really love platform flip-flops. It gives you a little bit of height, but they're basically flat. Like, you don't feel like you're standing in a heel at all, and that is what I love about them. They are super easy and super convenient for summer. I unfortunately did actually have like a sunburn one year, so that's just something to like watch out for. I had like these horrible sandal strap tan across my feet because I wore like the same flip-flops every day. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you have like a weird shape on your shoes and you wear it every day in the summer, you may end up with an extremely awkward tan. I also watched Versace's runway show. I actually thought that one was very interesting. They took a little bit sharper, should I say, or more aggressive tone. In all honesty, like, the colors were very bright and very sharp. The angles were very bright and very sharp, and even the models had some serious attitude as they were walking down the runway. So it was overall a kind of aggressive feel. There were some dresses that were like the after party for the night out, but they also had a lot of outfits that looked like something that someone would wear to an extremely high-end office. I don't want to just say any office, but if you were going to wear a haute couture look to the office, that is what a lot of the looks were. So I noticed a lot of pointed-toed shoes and a lot of bright neon colors. They pretty much stuck with the bright kind of emerald green and then a very hot pink, and also a lot of black. So what I usually do is try to avoid darker colors for spring and summer, just because I really like to have my wardrobe lightened up and kind of get me out of the wintry feel. But as late summer comes on, I can totally see maybe wanting to go back into some darker colors just to change it up. I also did notice all of their pointed toed shoes, which I must say that if there's a shoe that I cannot stand, it's a pointed toe shoe. I don't understand them. My feet don't fit in them. I can't wear them. I don't wear them. So yes, but my sister did have a pair, so I did include a pair of pointed toe shoes just so I could get the look that I feel like they were kind of going for in the Versace runway show. The next one, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but I'm going to do my best, okay? And that is George Hobeika, or Georges Hobeika, I'm not sure. But I really, really liked the runway show. That's why I pulled it, because there were actually a few runway shows that, either based on what was in my closet or based on what I saw, I did not opt to go with for this video. But I really did like that runway show. Now, I don't feel like it was necessarily that practical, but some of the pieces I feel like maybe could be simplified into something that's actually very wearable. So he had a lot of big shapes, a lot of like bustles, which I'm a fan of bustles. Not that I can ever wear them in day-to-day life, but I am actually a fan of bustles. He had a lot of pastel colors, I noticed, like smooth, I love like seafoam green type colors. He had a lot of those. And then he also had sparkles, tons and tons of sparkles. And I don't have that much sparkly clothing in my wardrobe. I'm pretty sure I almost have like no sparkly clothing in my wardrobe, but I did feel like it was kind of an interesting twist, a nice like little tweak. There are a couple of outfits that I would like to try and recreate from his line. I also took a look at Givenchy's line. I was pretty okay with most of the clothing. Some of it I don't think that I could recreate, or it wasn't something that like really leapt out to me. But what I did notice with the line was that a lot of the outfits were very flowy or layered. It was a whole lot of fabrics layered on each other and just kind of billowing out from there. So based on what I do have, I think there are a few outfits that I may be able to recreate from what they have. I didn't necessarily feel an extreme connection to any of the outfits that they had, but there were a couple that I wanted to recreate. So next is Chanel. Obviously, I really like Chanel because I very much like classical pieces. However, I did feel kind of like Fendi. It was a little bit wintry. They started out with their spring looks and then they went into their summer looks, and all of them were a little bit heavy for what you can wear in California, but I did find some that I really liked. I really loved the baby doll kind of looks that they had going on. And then it was a little bit contrasted with like the little boots that they were wearing. It was kind of like a modernized Victorian shape, but I really just liked their whole line. I did notice that they had basically black, white, and then a very, very faded out blue. So they really didn't pull in a whole lot of bright colors, which they did have some lighter colored outfits, and those are what I opted for in terms of feeling more summertime. I went ahead and watched Dior's runway show. I actually really liked that one. I know that Grecian was out quite a few years ago, but I am very glad that they are bringing it back. Along with Grecian, they also went with kind of natural colors, white, browns, and these kind of like seafoam greens. The only color really that popped out to me as not a natural color was the very dark purple that they were going for. Everything is very flowy and kind of transparent, and I really liked the whole look of it, especially the braiding. I did also notice that they were going for gladiator sandals again, which is really interesting because someone said that for whatever reason this year you wouldn't want gladiator sandals, although I did really think that they were an extremely wearable type of fashion. I really like gladiator sandals. However, unfortunately, a few years ago, the ones that I did have died a very painful death. So I will not be able to wear those again this year. However, I did like the overall look of the line and kind of the braiding and twisting that they were going for in Dior's line. My absolute favorite runway show out of all of these, I must say, would have had to be Ralph and Russo, just because it is so aligned with the types of things that I like and the types of things that I like wearing. Everything was very graceful and very pretty, but not too boring. I do feel like one of these outfits though is extremely pretty, and I felt like it had to be mentioned. This dress was really one that stuck out to me and one that I really liked. I loved the dress, I loved the flowers, I loved the train, and even though I'm not someone who really wears yellow a lot, I even loved the coat. Now, I know the coat obviously isn't practical for everyday life, and I actually don't have one, unfortunately, but I really liked the whole look of this, even though it's not necessarily something that is practical for everyday life. Other than the flowy gracefulness of the whole show, I also really liked the layout. Not that I think that it was necessarily that practical for the models. They showcased all of the outfits throughout the entire runway show by having some of the models stand in the middle on these little platforms. I do think though it was a little bit difficult in terms of having to stand there while everyone walked, because whoever got there first definitely had to stand there for like 20 or 30 minutes. But I did like being able to see all of the clothing, even though they had moved on to some other pieces. Now, in terms of recreating haute couture looks, I do feel like it's something that can be overwhelming, but I don't think it's something that you really need to worry about. Just pick out things that you like and things that you think kind of go together. Although I would also mention not to try and oversimplify too much, because you really can't call something haute couture inspired when it's so oversimplified. Like, for example, there was this outfit. Now, while you could just get a black skirt and a white shirt, it won't be something that's actually haute couture inspired. I do encourage you to pick out some things that may be a little out of your comfort zone, but still push toward the creative. Otherwise, it's not really couture inspired, it's just something that you could get anywhere. My formula for picking out something that looks couture inspired is to first pick an outfit that you really like and an outfit that you'd like to recreate. Then I would say that you boil that outfit down into a few simple categories. The first category is texture. Many outfits have different textures that you might not see on a regular daily basis. If you go to a regular store, then you're going to find many cotton items, maybe a little bit of leather, maybe some flowier, shinier fabrics. But other than that, everything's pretty much going to fall into the same type of texture. So when you look at a haute couture look, I would say look at what textures they're using. Next, I would also take a look at color and pattern. So for certain things, you're going to aim more for color, and for other things, you might aim a little bit more for pattern, or just something that kind of gives you the idea of that pattern, even if you don't have the exact pattern. So I would say you must look at the overall shape of the outfit. Some of the outfits are very clingy, some of them are billowing, some of them are kind of like pointy or something else. Maybe they have little things like dangling off of them. I would say take a look at the overall shape of the outfit and then go from there. Next thing that you need to do is boil it all down. Once you have an outfit that you like or one that inspires you, and you've split it into these three categories, you need to take another look at the main outfit. So what I would say is look at what you want to pull from this outfit. If you really like the shape, but you don't like the color, then you don't have to go with that color. You can easily just go with the shape. Then I would also try and look at maybe what the texture is. So if you have something that is leather and maybe it flows out, but you don't like the color or the pattern, then try and aim for something that is leather and flows out. Basically what I did as I was trying to get the look was to pick two of the three categories and then simplify it from there. For example, with this shirt, Obviously, I didn't have an exact match for this shirt, but I did pick something that I felt like was a little bit inspired by it, just because it's something that kind of pops and comes off the shirt. It's not as flat of a shape as if you picked a regular shirt with maybe a pattern on it. So if you guys are trying to recreate your own haute couture looks, just remember to look at the texture, color, or pattern, and then also the shape. Okay, so now you guys can see how I use this by going on to the final looks. Now I want to know which look you guys liked the most and which one you felt was the best match for the haute couture look. Also, all of these final looks are going to be posted on my Instagram account, so if you guys are interested in that, then go ahead and look down in the description box and you can check all of the final looks on my Instagram page. Remember to subscribe for more videos. I post them every Saturday. If you guys like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.